99 cents a share. What are your feelings about it?
It's been a solid quarter for us. We've had a production increase compared to the previous quarter. We're achieving more or less our guidance that we've indicated previously. Our costs are well controlled. We're making a margin after all of our capital expenditure, and in particular at a time when we're investing into growth for the future. So I'm pleased with the set of results, and it shows that we're on track to get Goldfields to a different space into the future.
I see that you've brought your cash costs down. How did you manage to do that?
Well, we did that in the face also of seasonally higher electricity prices, because it's been winter in South Africa and we pay higher prices in winter. We've also had the annual wage increase that kicked in 1st of July. So against that backdrop, to reduce our costs has been a tremendous achievement by the team. And it's been, I suppose, the early results of this business process re-engineering exercise that I announced some months ago, where we're looking at the entire process from the rock face through to the plant and figuring out how can we improve the overall processes, how can we streamline the processes, and we're seeing some of the impacts of that coming through.
Where did you make the most savings?
I think the most savings really are in letting natural attrition take its course. People do tend to leave the industry, and what we've done is we've redeployed existing people into those jobs, and that's helped us to reduce our cost in a way that I think is humane and in a way that is not going to create a lot of hardship for a lot of people. And so I think that's a good way of us trying to gradually reduce our cost base, and at the same time to retain the people we do have and deploy them into roles that become available.
What about the Rand gold price? I mean, gold prices are high, but it's been offset in some way by the strength of the Rand.
Well, we have in a sense that the Rand gold price still remains for the last quarter at 289,000 Rand a kilogram, slightly higher than the previous quarter, which was 287,000 Rand. Today, the Rand gold price is just under 300,000 Rand a kilogram. So we are seeing an improvement, but of course, as you correctly say, we get a push up in the dollar gold price, and then the Rand exchange rate comes down. And I guess what I'd like to see is a stable Rand. And I'm not going to try and second guess where the Rand should be, but what I would like is to get a Rand in a trading range that we can use with some sort of confidence for the future. That's what I'd like to see. I'm not necessarily advocating either a weaker Rand. I'm advocating a stable Rand. A much better outcome for the country is a higher dollar price, a stable Rand, maybe not weakening too much, but maybe staying stable, and that will help to keep inflation in check, which the government's done a great job on.
How are you faring with your profit margins?
Well, certainly this quarter we've maintained our margin after all costs, including capital expenditure, at 18%. Our overall operating margin, if you want to exclude capital, is very healthy at around about 40%. So we're doing reasonably well, and one of the benefits that I'm seeing is that the higher price that we're seeing in US dollar terms, in Australia dollar terms, in Rand terms, because we do operate in those three jurisdictions, are starting to report to the bottom line, which is very important.
Now, what about gold production? It seems you're planning to increase production at a time when production overall in South Africa is declining.
Well, we're confident that we can make that because, first of all, we believe that we're going to get good stability in the legacy assets in South Africa, the old ladies, as I call them, Beatrix, Driefontein and Kloof, which might be old ladies, but they're not dead yet. There's a lot of life in those old ladies. But we've got to stabilise that production base. We want to get South Deep, the greatest ore body in the world, which I'm sure will translate to the greatest mine in the world. We want to get that production up. That'll help to stabilise that base. And of course, on the international operations, we had a stellar 2010. They increased their production by 16%. And I'm sure that there's more there. We can push up that production further.
Where are you looking outside of South Africa and to the rest of the continent?
Principally West Africa, where we're based at the moment. We are the largest producers in Ghana, so that's a key focus area. Damang has a very exciting production profile ahead of it. That's one of the two mines we have in Ghana. So I think there's more organic growth coming out of Damang. And in Mali, we have a very exciting exploration project, which I believe should get into resource development phase, which is a time when we've identified and delineated enough resources for us to make a call as to whether we think we can do a scoping study to build a mine. And I'm hoping that in the course of about the middle of next year, we'll be in a position to do that. And the nice thing about that is we can leverage off our existing base in West Africa.
Earlier this week, you announced a black empowerment deal that will fulfill your requirements of 26% black ownership by 2014. What are you planning to do with that empowerment?
Well, we're done. You know, we've completed these deals. One of them is an ESOP deal where we'll give 13 million shares, which is about 2% of our existing share base, to employees. And the thing that I'm really pleased about is we've made every employee in South Africa a shareholder. And that's a unique situation to be in. On South Deep, it's going to be a phased acquisition by a wide group of people and also an education trust. So they're not contributing anything up front, but it's a phased contribution into the asset itself. And what's good about these deals is that they're very clear, they're very transparent, and people know what they're going to get and when they're going to get it. It's not based on if, buts, and maybes. You know, if the price goes up, you get something. If the operations do this, you get something. The guys can actually plan. They know they're going to get something. And from our side, we've created empowerment transactions that will be sustainable over time. And I think that's what we want to do.